And ta-da! Greetings and aloha. What's going on? It's Mike from LiveMyAssOff.com. I'm here in the in my Stu Stu Studio, along with Phil Collins, and thought I'd just hang out with you guys. I'm here again in the same physical spot that I was yesterday. I just have my pianist with me, because I'm a pianist, and we're broadcasting on youtube.com/live-my-ass-off, along with Facebook and Twitch and Twitter and a couple of others that you probably never heard of. VK.com, I'm on over there, which is kind of cool too. But I also have a different microphone today, and I have another different microphone, okay, which is like a lot brighter, obviously. And this is like a lot warmer because actually I'm running a little bit more bass. And if I put it over here, then this has bass too. But I'm pretty much going to stick with this, which is, many of you will know, this is the SM58. And how much are these normally? About $100, maybe $50 if they're on sale in the United States. $60. I got them for $20, and I swear to God, I thought these are going to be fake. I'm just going to order some, and then I'll end up like using them as a prop. But these are definitely Shure SM58s. It comes with a business reply card and everything, where I can basically sign up and I can get the warranty all day long. And yes, Mariano, I am live. Thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. Bummed that. Honored that you came by yesterday and let us know that you were doing your podcast but couldn't make it. So thank you so much, Joe. Always love to see you, man. You always smile. Both Gracie and I are smile. Gracie is actually here in the studio, in the Stu Stu Studio, and but she's in the beanbag chair, and she's gaming online right now. But I'm here on this side of the camera, this side of the mic. I can actually even tell the echo in here. The cool part is ideally this microphone isn't really picking it up too much, so that's kind of cool. But I don't have a compressor inside this mixer, so I could potentially overload this thing, which could be a real drag. Andy, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming by. I appreciate it. And greetings there, young fella. Thank you so much, Chris. Now, Chris, this time I'm actually using StreamYard, so this isn't a duplicate test of what was yesterday. But quite frankly, I was getting sick and tired of having Chris's replies basically show up twice. That was like really sort of getting annoying. And so I said, all right, well, I'll just use the StreamYard thing and I'll try this. Additionally, I'm also on the same Wi-Fi network I was on yesterday. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try StreamYard with only 3 streams, because that's all I pay for, right? But one of them is RTMP, and then that RTMP then pushes to Restream, which then goes to like 7 other different platforms. However, even thus far, I'm noticing that this is a non-skipping version, it seems, of my broadcast. It seems like it skipped quite a bit yesterday, and it's not doing that today. So, little bottom end over, you think? Okay, you want me to like pull that? How's that? I put it down a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell because I can't really listen live, right? So I don't really know how it like totally goes through. But in any case, what up? Hello, Jay. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming by, Mario. Thank you for sharing your stream there. What I'm going to do actually is I'll go over to my channel so I can actually click on that and we can check it out. I assume that was your podcast from yesterday. Is that true? Pate is being punished. You think so, Rob? Oh yeah, it is a little bit overdriven, isn't it? You know what's funny is I have the AGC on. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna dial that back a little bit so that it's not too crazy. I may blow off StreamYard's AGC because it doesn't sound. I don't think it does AG as well as I do. But let me click on Mariano's link here and see. 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Mariano. I'm glad somebody got that. My Stu Stu Studio with Phil Collins and my Stu Stu Studio. That sounds a little bit better, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. I think that sounds a little bit better. Not overdriven. I needed to basically crank up the volume in my headphones, decrease the volume of the microphone. I get it now. Wax up. Wax on, wax off, my friend. I get it. So actually, there is a bit less of a halo. 2 reasons. One, I'm using StreamYard, and obviously their replacement of this green screen that I have behind me seems to do a bit better of a job than Restream did. StreamYard does a better job than Restream did, which is a little bit disappointing because I actually wish that Restream did a better job of it, but they don't. Additionally, I also haven't tried OBS yet. I'm going to be doing that a little later on, not in today's broadcast, but every single day is just like kind of a little bit of newness for me. For today, I also traveled with these new mic booms that I got on Lazada for $3, I think. Maybe $4, actually, because I think it was just over $100 baht. And that is that a little bit better. And again, what I really should be doing is I should be using some sort of compression on the microphone, which I'm not. And I fully admit that I'm not. I'm going to increase the low end a little bit just now, a smidge. With my green tweaker. Did you guys have green tweakers whenever you were doing electronics? We always seem to have a green tweaker when we were moving pots, the small ones, like on the board. Anyway, yeah, Stu Stu Studio lines, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm psyched that Mariano's here. Typing must be difficult for me tonight. That's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, you're typing incorrectly both times, so that is good. It's good to have, repeat. The other thing that I'm trying in here, other than this microphone, and obviously it's got a tighter pattern, so I'm not probably pulling in as much white noise as I was yesterday, obviously, because that microphone is infinitely of infinitely less quality than this one. But the other thing I'm doing is I'm going. I've got an XLR cable, and I'm going through a mixer that is not definitely not my favorite. My favorite is that I own is the Behringer with the Xenix mic processors, mic preamps rather, which are really stellar. And it's interesting. It's got this circuitry in it that they call British compression. So I'm not quite sure why they. But anyway, so that was and then this mixer that I'm using right now, it's got 2 XLR mic inputs, and so I wanted to do that so that then I could have Gracie over here if she wanted to sit here. That sounds really warm. Are you guys with me? I mean, that is like very, very warm. And then I want Gracie to sound very, very warm. But then again, that's the 75th. That's the 57. So yeah, could be a little bit. Could be. I guess I could increase the brightness on this a little bit, but that just sounds a little bit too bright. I don't know. Anyway, as you know, I do this and I like to mess around with it, and so therefore that's why I get like 10 people watching and then 6 because they're like, okay, here he goes again. This is just like you've got to be. This is yellow. You had yellow tweakers too. I just remember having the green one, But then again, you're from down under. Hello, Mr. Mitch. I have not watched the. What was the name of that video? It was like Mr. Mitch live and in person or something like that. I think it was one of Dave's videos that was like all Mr. Mitch, or at least that's what the clickbait title told me. And so therefore I'm like, I got to go watch this thing, which I haven't yet. It's in the queue, brah. But thank you for coming by, man. Are you like finally back home for your home, meaning you're back in Pattaya? I definitely need a windscreen on this because I definitely want to get a lot closer. If you guys don't know, this area right here between your bottom lip and your chin, that indent right there, God actually designed that. That's where you put the SM58. And usually if you're on stage, you'll talk across it like this. But, anyway, so that just so you know, that's what that's for. So those guys that have that like bearded thing that's in there, what do they call it? Flavor saver or whatever. Guys that have that, they have no idea about mic placement. Maybe that should be my on-air name, mic placement. I don't know. I like mics. It's a little easier. And I'm so amazing. I'm plural. Just ask me. So therefore it's mics. All this tech talk way over my head. All right. So I'm not, and it's not, hopefully it's an opportunity for learning, not an opportunity to isolate. I definitely like to be inclusive versus exclusive. That's lame. Performing my 5-day quarantine at the moment in Cebu City, like that Steinway piano. When you look at me, Carl, don't you immediately say to yourself, "Now there's a good pianist," right? So therefore, I had to kind of nothing says pianist more than fireplace. So I had to add one of those on the left of the room. Okay, so you bring up an interesting point that I'd like to discuss, Carl, which is you're doing a 5-day quarantine in Cebu City. So Gracie sent me an article earlier today that stated when entering the Philippines, you'll have to quarantine, and they will test you on day 5. Now, that may be coming in the future, right? But like as of today, December 8th, how long have you been? I'm actually curious, Carl. How long have you been in Cebu? Are you on day 1 of day 5, or are you on day 5 of your 5-day and you're closer? And what was sort of the process? I have some pretty clear idea of what it would be like to have to do that coming into Thailand. Obviously, because Gracie did it in March and she did it for 2 weeks. Anything we do now obviously would be much less than 2 weeks, but it would still be mildly inconvenient. Let's just say that. So I'm kind of curious what your experience is there in Cebu City. So definitely want to hear about that. And I see you guys saying hi to one another. Thank you for that, and welcome to the Cool Kids table. Soul Patch Mike. It works like this. No, it doesn't. I disagree. I think it just. See? Yeah. No, you don't want that. You don't want that, and you don't want this. Which is why I always finish my Snickers bars fully before doing a big broadcast. As far as I'm concerned, every broadcast is big. So welcome to the Cool Kids table, and welcome to the big broadcast. As part of these microphones, I actually also got a piece of Velcro. So, just throwing it out there. I got the braided mic. You really like that? Isn't that great how the sound just resonates right through the metal? Ah, that is just lovely. So yeah, so it's real, right? Because if I've got the Shure mic cable, I got the Shure. Oh my God, I just forgot the name of that Velcro. Jesus, the medication is clearly. I need some more of it. Currently in the back of a car, bouncing your way home. Oh wait, okay. So you just like rented a bike there ish, like what? Where in Pachacuricon? For Joe's, or like near Bangkok or near Surin with Dave? I figured you rented one in Pattaya and then just bam. But I'm also naturally curious where home is now, Mitch. I believe it's Pattaya. Can you please ask Gracie when her video, My Mikey, is coming out? Honey, did you hear that? Joe wants to know when your video, My Mikey, is coming out. You want to answer that? You want to come here? I mean, honey, why don't you just, here, come on. Talk to Joe. Joe loves you. Sit. You're playing a game? What is your game, by the way? What is your favorite game?
I'm playing Mobile Legend.
Mobile Agent?
Mobile Legend.
Mobile Legend. Okay. So,
I don't know.
But you don't know. You got to give Joe a date.
Wow.
He pays for our smoothies.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for the smoothie.
So we got to give, you don't want to give a date? Do you have a high score, by the way?
What?
High score. Like, what is your highest achievement?
MVP.
Your MVP?
Yeah. If you're MVP.
And then what? You can't get any better than that?
That's the
most valuable?
Yeah.
After that, you start all over again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough. You can go sit down if you want. I mean, if you can't give Joe an answer, I get that. And if you don't want to be here, I understand because I smell. Well,
I'm just playing.
You're just playing? All right, you can sit there if you want.
I don't know what to say.
You don't know what do you mean? Just count from 1 to 17,000. Ready? Go. All right, whatever. So anyway, so Carl he's in Cebu City, and he came in on Sunday. So he's basically on day, what's today? Today's on day 3. Okay, now that article you sent me, is that like taking effect now? December 2nd, it took effect. So it's been in, okay. So, and that means everybody 5 days. Okay, well, she's back in the beanbag chair. Well, I hope it's going okay, Carl. I mean, I don't know. Are you in a decent enough hotel? I mean, I know that there's certainly some pretty decent hotels in Cebu City, like near IT Park or something like that. But I also know that there's a bunch that are probably lousy. So hopefully you were able to get one that's like decent Wi-Fi, decent food. I'm sure you guys probably know Rike, right? And potentially heard of his trials and tribulations that he experienced when he was in quarantine in the Philippines, trying to leave the Philippines. And I think he literally lost like at least like 20 pounds because the food was so lousy that they were providing him, and he just was like, I can't eat this. Plus, he was sick, right? Apparently, he had COVID, so I'm sure that wasn't real helpful. Wild Hogs. Yeah, is that what you guys do? You have T-shirts and stuff? Do you get like patches? I'm sure Dave was all about that because he's like, oh man, back in the day, I had so much leather and patches. Hello, Thailand Digital Nomad. Love the video. Now, okay. Good. I thought I'd missed you. Thank goodness. Yeah, thank you for saying his name so I didn't miss it. It's good to see you, man. Love the video. All right. Well, that's another video I guess I'll have to take a look at. Figured I would join on YouTube. All right, Jay. Way to be over here. I mean, don't forget, the Cool Kids Table exists over on Facebook as well, but welcome. Oh, you're not even finished with the ride. Oh, got it. Okay. 218 new subs and near 500 or less. Really? See, again, this pisses. I've mentioned this before, but what bugs me is I can't just like right mouse click on someone's name in the YouTube chat and like go to channel. But I definitely want to do that. I'm glad you're doing that, Mitch. You're well respected, I think, in like most YouTube live streams, right? As being a decent moderator, trusted moderator. So that's neat that you're having your own channel. That's cool. Ah, Hua Hin. Copy that. That's far down there, man. I mean, I understand why you would go there, rent it, and then cruise over to Joe's because it's like basically the next sort of big town, I guess. Got it. Yeah, definitely. Split the two. Split it up a few. Got it. But is the car actually driving? I know. Did you get self-driving? I hope so. Mariano says, we all love her. That means you, honey. Mariano. So basically, he's the representative from Germany, and then Joe is the representative from the United States. So 2 countries, and the top 2 countries that have been vacationing in Thailand. So trust me, they big sample size. So Chris and or others that were here yesterday and absolutely would have noticed the jittery, lousy video that was happening, certainly at the beginning of the broadcast and sometimes in the middle. I hope that hasn't happened again this time. I don't believe it has. And so please let me know if the video is better, same, worse than yesterday. That would be very helpful. Joe says hi, honey. Too slow, the car's driving. Yeah, see, that's the problem is you need it. Now like everything is motorbike, right? Mitch says hello as well, honey. Mr. Mitch, sorry. Kun Mitch. Be back in the pack in a couple of days. Oh. Okay, so you're carring and then you're going to get back in. Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, again, yes, Mike, if you watch the videos, you'd know exactly what's going on, which I haven't. I get it. So my bad. Hello to moms and dads everywhere. Happy Father's Day for those in Thailand that I forgot to say happy Father's Day to last Monday. I think it's neat how the Father's Day is the date for Father's Day here in Thailand is the king's birthday. That's pretty cool, right? Dear John, the guy with the letter. Marco Polo Hotel, staying in a nice hotel. Do you know Marco Polo Hotel in Cebu, honey? Yeah, I've never heard of it either, but is it okay? Good. I'm glad that you've got a good experience there because I mean I think again that's the entry to a country, and I think the last thing you want is a bad experience. So that's good. Good for you. Good to hear you again, Joe. You are very welcome, Mitch. Yeah, totally, dude. I mean, it's neat that you're doing that. I think other people probably wanted to know a little bit more about you. Now, to be fair, you are also on Joe's live streams quite a bit, so I'm sure that they got an idea of like who this guy is, and it's always good. I also want to thank you. I noticed that you did this for me. I'm sure you did it for everybody. But when I would enter the chat on Dave's, you would always put my channel up there. And I think that was a common behavior of yours. Like someone enters and you're like, oh, yeah, let's add this guy. And that's just friggin' cool, dude. Wish I could do it right now. However, if I go over to, let's see, YouTube, and I search YouTube for Mr. Mitch, am I going to be able to find your channel? I fear I will not. Yeah, I get Mr. Mitch shorts. Hold on, let me Thailand Digital Nomad, Mr. Mitch on tour, uncut from for December 7th. So I tell you what, let me do that. And then maybe what Thailand Digital Nomad did is he's got Gordon's channel, he's got Brian's Thailand channel, and I don't see how he even listed Mr. Mitch's channel. So let me see if I type it into YouTube in 2 words, then maybe. If one of you guys can please put Mr. Mitch's channel up there, that would be awesome. I see Mr. MR period Mitch. That shows up, but that does not look like it's one of yours. So sorry about that. I definitely want to share it though. So please, guys, make sure that if you have the ability to do that, do it. And if you put the link up there and you are not a moderator, please just let me know, and I will make you that. And so therefore, all of us will be happy, joyous, and free. And I'm a big fan of that. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Joe. Let me see here. Mr. 10 Man 69. Okay, I'm not subscribed. What the hell? Okay, subscribed and boom, notifications. Oh, you only got one video? Look at that, dude. You get 475 views on one video. Good for you. And you find love in the strangest places, apparently. Good for you, man. That's good, because I mean, what's better than strange love in the strangest places? Why do you think they made the song Bizarre Love Triangle, dude? Precisely for that reason, obviously. Rest up. Back in a bit. You know what? Photos didn't happen, dude. Because let's face it, the outdoor urinals of public restrooms at gas stations during a road trip, quality, absolutely quality. Thank you, Mariano. I appreciate the update on the video. Had a couple of short frame freezes. That's all. Now or right at the beginning, because I'm always curious whether it's the instantiation of it with these providers that are in browser, right, and then they're RTMPing out to their partners. Whether that's the big one. Hello, Joe. Way to switch up platforms, buddy. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for hopping in on Facebook. Did I explain yesterday in the beginning what Driver does? Maybe, but I will do it again because I'm a big fan of Driver. drvr.co, by the way, is their website, and I'm part of that company to some degree. I'm on the advisory board. I'm also friends, gratefully, with the CEO. And I've been following them and sort of, supporting them for a while. And as part of that, they have a subscription here at this co-working space, and so I get to use that on behalf of being a Driver person. There are no other Driver people here right now. The coders are in Thailand and the Ukraine, I believe. CEO is now down in Pattaya. And so anyway, so what Driver does is they refer to themselves occasionally as what in other things, but a telematics company. And so basically what they started doing is they started installing physical devices using 3G and GPS to locate a fleet of cars. They work on fleets. So for example, UPS, FedEx, Mitsubishi Fuso, over here is Carry, one of the big deliverers, La Move, other ones that you'll hear about like that, okay? Now, Grab obviously has their own technology, and they use an app on a phone to track their drivers and everything. And so as you're sitting there and you're waiting, same with Uber, right? And you see the cars move and that sort of thing. Well, in the fleet world, that's not necessarily as common. And with fleets, you don't necessarily have a driver that will install an app and then, so they would install physical devices and they would track those fleet services, right? So you know where the physical car is. Well, as part of that, it also, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a 3-letter abbreviation of something, but basically it's this standard plug that all cars, automobiles had, where you could like plug it in and get data out of it and that sort of thing. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure you know that, the abbreviation for it. Anyway, so they would plug into that too, and then they would monitor, and that way they're able to monitor, like for some cars, you monitor the air pressure in the tires, but for most of them, you just monitor like gas tank level, rate, speed, braking, that sort of thing. And so, but then they expanded that and they said, okay, well, this is great, but we have to install these physical devices and these things. And that doesn't work for motorbikes, definitely in Southeast Asia. Now, they're incorporated in Hong Kong, but they have kind of their headquarters, as well as Myanmar and Cambodia, where other, people are involved in the company there. And Vietnam, Japan, they've been part of like the Facebook I think the Facebook developers thing that was actually up in San Francisco. And so what happens is they basically sell this dashboard to a company, let's say for the sake of argument, just to make it easier, FedEx or UPS or whatever, right? And so the guy in charge, he has this dashboard on his laptop, PC, whatever, and he's sitting there and he's looking at all of his trucks in his fleet and he's watching them go around. But what he's also doing is he's measuring the driver's behavior. And so that also allows them to be able to take that data. And one of the things they can do is arguably they could sell it to an insurance company, right? So the insurance company would be like, man, this one driver that they have, he drives like very poorly. And so therefore, unfortunately, we're going to have to raise their, but these other guys, they're like, they always drive like, for the sake of argument in the United States, let's say they drive 54 miles an hour. They never go over 55 or they never go over 65. They don't hard brake. They don't take fast light turns, because once you put it in an app, then you have a lot more information that can come from that phone. There's gyroscopes and there's accelerometers and obviously there's GPS and then there's Wi-Fi and there's Bluetooth. And so you can do all these things. And so you bring that data in, and then companies want to pay for that data as well as the ability to monitor that fleet. And then they partnered recently with ZenDrive, great company that pretty much deals primarily with insurance, and they're a big data analytics company. Let's label them that way. And so with Driver and with ZenDrive together, then you take all that data and then you absolutely look at the behavior of drivers, individual drivers, right? And you can then target that person with the best insurance based on their driving habits. Additionally, insurance companies want to pay for hot leads, right? So they want to be able to insure a guy that has never had an accident, a guy, gal, person who's never had an accident, right? Super low risk. And then of course they can give them a low rate, but they can also be like, this is no risk to our bottom line. We're not going to have to pay, the chances of us having to pay out on this guy versus, someone who's got like 2 drunk drivings. And it's like, there's a market for that, but obviously the rates are very high and the risk is very high. And so therefore, of course, the risk is very high. The rates are very high to the individual. And so then they sell that information, but they also sell that information as an example that they gave to a company in the United States called, I just spaced on the name of it, Credit Karma. Okay, so in Credit Karma, you sit there and you check your credit. Well, while you're checking your credit, right, it behooves Credit Karma to be able to sell little pieces of real estate on their app that say, hey, your credit's there, but maybe you want to sign up for a credit card, obviously, right? So they get Visa to advertise with them, but they're also like, well, yeah, your credit's really good, but you could also click here, and if you wanted, you can agree in the Credit Karma app that's on your phone all the time that we're going to grab some data for you, and we're going to squirt it over to this, this driver engine and this ZenDrive engine, and then we're going to take that information, and then we're going to shoot it to State Farm. So not only are you going to check your credit, and you're going to be like, oh, I've got a 700. Well, you can click here and you get a great deal on State Farm. Well, State Farm, you click on that, it goes over to State Farm. They're like, not only is this guy's credit score a 700, but he's a great driver, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, again, the user has to agree to give this data, right? But it's not like State Farm can log in and be like, man, this guy drives to Costco every single weekend, and we know that he buys like 30 gallons of whiskey kind of thing. Well, that might be, no, they don't do stuff like that. But the point is that Driver is that one piece that sort of does the telematics part. But the neat thing is that they've branched out and they're going into other verticals, right? So that's Driver. And as you guys know, there's no yes or no answer to any of my questions. And so hopefully that was clear. And if you guys have any interest in it, drvr.co. It's a very cool company. For Thai Soup and John Tien, where do you recommend for that, Thai Digital Nomad? Mitch is nice to. He is, right? Again, it's not fake, right? It's very authentic, and so good to see you, Matt Tech. Glad you're here, man. Hope you're doing okay. Hope that van never fell on you. The Mr. Mitch shorts, yeah, I did. I saw that, man. That's really cool. Oh, thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. And again, if any of you guys are like, Mike, I would like to post, just let me know. I see that Viper Ruka's there, and I'm going to hop on to the, I'm going to get further down in the chat. And then also thank you very much for sharing his link. I definitely subscribed. I encourage all of you guys to do so. Yeah. So the fireplace, I will tell you that I made a commitment to myself back in like the early to mid 90s, and that was never buy a house without a fireplace. Now that held true in St. Louis because it was freezing, but it was also very important in California, with the exception of the last place I lived. The last place I lived didn't have a ton of things. Didn't have a garage. It was a tiny one-bedroom cottage, because my goal was like, okay, let me get a smaller place and downsize, but also have the ability to grab a backpack and then go to the airport and then, and then travel, versus like putting all of my money into something where I have to stay there, which is a house. I mean, I had like 3 and 4 bedroom houses, right? I'm a single guy back then, and it's just like, dude, come on. And of course I went from a 2-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom house to a 4-bedroom house to one with a backyard and a 2-car. I mean, it's like, Jesus. But that was a lot of I'm not going to blame the U.S. for making me do that, but I'm going to absolutely say that there was a lot of encouragement, from my peers. And by that, I mean every single other U.S. citizen, that was what you were supposed to do. And so I got on that train and I wrote it. And it's random still. Okay, but it still happens, huh? All right. Well, I mean, you can just watch in the background. I'm totally cool with that. But if it's a possibility for you to be like, yeah, and it happened at like 31:17, that would be great, because I want to chop those out and give it to this place and say, hey, so here's why, like, I'm not going to recommend that our company re-up, because you're a co-working space and your Wi-Fi is lousy. I mean, come on. That's like building a power plant, saying, well, it's anywhere from about 42 to 71 hertz, but I think people will buy it. I mean, we're very flexible in our frequency of power. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say data port. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Matt. I knew you would know, right? OBD. Yeah, and I think you're also correct, Chris. OBD2. Yeah. The CAN bus system or the car bus system. I'm totally ignorant to it. OBD1 to 95, OBD2 90. See, here's what I love about doing stuff like this is that, yeah, you guys, oh yeah, Mike's talking tech or whatever. And there's a couple of you that kind of knew like the buzzwords that I was going through, and I knew the process or knew the excitement that I feel when I talk about RF or something like that. Okay, right. But then it's like, there's something I don't know about, and then bam, like well before I get to the silly comment in the topic, right? It's like, MedTech is right there with it, as is Chris. And so thank you guys. I really appreciate that. That's very cool. We also have to monitor our hours of service in semi-trucks. Thank you. That's right, Jay, you're a driver. So Jay, okay, though, it's going to date me, but I knew the OmniTrax system was the first system that I knew that basically monitored commercial trucking. That was a system designed by Qualcomm, a company in San Diego, and so I knew of that system. And then it was satellite, basically. There was a satellite dish that was like the dome kind of thing. It looked a lot like my head, but painted white. And it was effectively on the roof of the cab of all of these things. And a lot of times, the joke was the drivers, they just pull underneath the bridge and they sit there because without satellite, right, there's no data. But the point is that they had pretty much a monopoly on that system for years. And so, Jay, I'm curious if you ever had the OmniTrax system in one of your trucks. I don't know how long you've been driving, and you're probably a lot younger than I am, so probably not. Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, I was very grateful for StreamYard for providing me such a quality picture. You can probably tell with a lot of the artifacts that this is indeed a nice house, but it's not my nice house. It's federally regulated. Ah, interesting. I didn't realize that. Hello from Slovenia. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well, like always. I am. Thank you, Viperuka. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. Again, I kind of like this afternoon time. It's a couple of reasons. One is that it's a good time of the day for me because it's after this meeting that I go to where I meet a bunch of buddies. Well, you guys know what I say when I mean meetings, right? I don't have a job, so it's not like it was like a Zoom meeting where we like talked about P&L. I'm like, well, no, this kind of helps my emotional state. And then there's that whole keeping sober thing that I kind of like to do. Just sent you a pic. Take a look later. Oh yeah, sure, that's exactly right. Like, don't think of a pink elephant. Is that where you were going with that? Thank you, Joe. Whatever you do, do not touch this knob. Yeah, see, I'm not getting I'm assuming you don't want me to show that, but I mean, it's a very small one, right? Because I'm looking at it in Facebook Messenger, but that's very cool. Thank you, Joe. I love that. It was basically a funny photo of my brother, Dana. who I'm sure many of you guys know from Idea Studio. He is just going great with that channel. Same here in Australia, except there is a black market for data interceptors. Always someone trying to mess with safety. Man, that's too bad. Yeah. Oh, and so one other thing that I forgot to say is that one of the things that they were able to do is improve the quality of the lives of drivers. What do I mean by that? Well, in some of these countries, a lot of these drivers, they like supplement their low, realistically, income of being a driver by siphoning off some of the gas and selling the gas, or actually literally removing the tires and selling the tires. And so they were able to say, well, look, hey, fleet manager, not only are we going to measure the speed and the thing and all this, and we'll tell you where the truck actually is and everything, but we're also going to measure, the gas. And what you can do is you can hold your drivers accountable and say, dude, stop siphoning off the gas. You went 17 miles and it took you 38 liters of fuel. False, right? But the point is that what they were able to do, and I don't know how effective this was because, of course, it doesn't stop with them. It needs to be sort of deployed by the company, which is you can say, okay, driver, that, obviously before we put this in, guess what? We were going through like 17 times more fuel. And now we're going, because we're holding you accountable. And there's some degree of, inability for you to now supplement your income by, selling this gas on the black market. So it allowed the company to actually pay the drivers more because they're like, look, if we lose these drivers, we got to have drivers, right? And yes, we're a company, so we would like to pay the least amount for the maximum amount of benefit, whether it's, cleaning solution or, human resource, right? And so they were able to say, well, if these guys, they'll be just like, well, I'm just going to go drive for another trucking company because I can actually sell that gas. Or I'm not saying it's going to always be nefarious and it's always going to be a bad behavior. But the point is that I believe it was able to basically what I refer to as make the world spin a little bit faster, meaning that you improve the quality of the lives of people by saying to the company, can you imagine like this tech company comes in, right, and says, we can monitor all of your vehicles. We can even monitor the driving behavior of all of your drivers. And we can allow you to pay them more money, pay them more salary, right? And they, of course, the people in the board meeting, right, they'd be like, well, this guy's crazy. Why is he going to increase, our bottom line costs? And it's like, well, no, because if you actually take a look at it holistically, we don't have to hire new drivers. We can actually pay these guys; they'll stick around longer. And all this. And so it's like pretty good. You guys hear that big yawn that Gracie just Gracie threw that out there? Good for her. Wow, that's crazy. No, you're crazy. Pretty silent, right? When I don't speak. Well, that statement's true everywhere, but. Yes, had OmniTrax and Qualcomm, then PeopleNet, and now we use regular cell service with an app that connects to the computer of the truck and tracks our data. Okay, so you have your phone, and you're like, it's mounted on the dash or whatever suction cup thing. I'm sure you have something a little bit more permanent than, just a weekend driver like me. But so you install this app, and do you need to install anything physically in the truck or the car? Or is there like Bluetooth connectivity to your phone, and then that app shoots the information back to the, I don't know, fleet manager? I don't know whether you're part of like a giant, like, are you part of like Yellow, that does deliveries in the 24 years? Yeah. Well, okay. So you, when you started driving, then you're probably actually at the end of OmniTrax, because I learned about OmniTrax it was before I graduated from college for electrical engineering. We had a tour of Qualcomm, and because in San Diego, if you're going for electrical engineering, your fantasy is like, okay, I'm going to get hired by Qualcomm. It's kind of like going to school in Seattle, being like, oh my God, if I work for Amazon, right? So 24 years. And so, yeah. So anyways, it was, mid 90s basically is when I had a tour of that system. So that was certainly more than 24 years ago, but not too many more. So you might have come in and it was probably 5 more years, maybe 10 years. I don't know how long when you were driving they were still using it for. A brother is Nepalese living in Thailand, and I hope you can meet him. Absolutely, dude. Yeah. Where is he? Nepalese? Is that how you call it? Nepal, I understand. But yeah, shoot, dude. Yes. But then also when you get here, I'm psyched for us to meet him and have like bucket of smoothies, bro. Mike, we all miss Bangkok Strange. When's the next stream with Tana? So it's funny, right? Thank you for that. I'm honored that you miss it. If you were watching Dana's live stream today, someone asked him that. Maybe it was you, maybe it was someone else, and brought it up. And he's like, well, I'm ready to do it. All I got to do is basically walk 9 meters from my bedroom and I walk into the studio, and well, sorry, Mike's not here because he's on a bus or a plane or a train, or he's at the beach, or he's like, in some random studio like this with, showing off his big pianist. And so like he can't be part of it. There's absolutely something to be said for, using Zoom and, having one remote person and having I get that. But that show, the way that we did that show, the way that Dana and I would argue one of the reasons why potentially it was popular and maybe you guys liked it, because we were physically next to each other, and we were never like, okay, we're going to do an hour and 20 minutes. No. It was like, turn the mics on, dude. And when I'm on my third Coke Zero, it's probably time to call it a day. And so I absolutely missed that. I had a coffee with Dana last week, and hopefully I'll have it again this week, maybe next week. We're here definitely until the 23rd. That's when we get our second injection, and so therefore we're going to do that, which we know will certainly open up our travel options. We know that now. 2 weeks after we get our second shot, and they're actually like, okay, now you're like fully vaccinated or whatever. Who knows? All the rules may change, and we'll be like, well, I don't know. Can you spell Omicron backwards? Do you guys know that an anagram for Omicron is, oh my God, I just forgot what it is. Moronic. Yeah, an anagram of Omicron, if you put the letters, it's moronic. Coincidence? I think not. But anyway, so when is the next stream with Dana? Couple short answers. Don't know. Cox Strange thing. He's got a certain. Oh, thank you, and thank you so much to StreamYard for letting me know right away. I hope this was fairly right away. Here you go, Mike. Smoothie money. It's 3 a.m. here. You need to go to bed. Good night. Absolutely, Joe. Kapu mahap. And thank you on behalf of Gracie, who's. What are you playing again? What's it called? What? M? L. Yeah, but what's it stand for? Mobile? Oh, so in other words, like mobile, like the only way to play it is on your phone. You can't play it on a PC. You can't play it on a Mobile Legend, probably. So, Joe, thank you very much for the $5. Thank you for the 150. Whoa, actually more than that. Hold on. Check the exchange rate this morning. 33.4, I think. So thanks a lot for that 165 baht, brah. That's big. I bought Gracie a smoothie on the way home last night. I had some of it. She had some of it. I think it's still in the fridge, right? The coconut shake, honey, that's still in the fridge. Did you have any of it? She's very busy with Mobile Legend right now. So anyway, so hopefully that answered your question. I suppose, and so here's the other thing too, right? Is that like I was gone, and then there were some other circumstances that was like Dana and Jib were like at home. They weren't necessarily traveling or going anywhere, and for the most part, they're not really big travelers. But they were doing that on Saturdays, basically during let's, for the sake of argument, we'll call it the Bangkok Strange live stream time, Saturday at 9 a.m., which also seemed to be the time that every other Thai vlogger that went live it was doing live streams regularly went Saturdays at 9 a.m. So it was kind of like, but it worked out because we were trying other times, and it was just like, okay, this works for me. I mean, selfishly, it was great because I get up at like 5:36 in the morning. Dana was able to get up by 9 a.m. But actually, I think his sleeping schedule's different now. I think it's a lot more to the tune of daylight versus him working all through the night. But I think he still does that. I know he's a hard worker, and I know he's a smart worker. And I also know he's an all-nighter guy. He pulls all-nighters, and I think he enjoys it quite a bit, actually. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate the praise there for Bangkok Strange. Dana mentioned today in the live stream, or in his live stream with Jib, that I guess he was checking the analytics. And last month, even though Dana and I have not done a Bangkok Strange episode in, quite frankly, probably a year, actually, maybe not. Obviously, when Gracie got here, we immediately went to Phuket, and that's pretty much when Bangkok Strange stopped, because I started traveling then, and it was like, I don't know when my schedule is going to be. Gracie and I are going to, I got the pass, I got the AirAsia pass. We're just going to keep cruising around. Thank you so wait, 4 seconds it paused. Oh, that's very frustrating, but thank you for that. I'm going to look back through this. And Mariano, if you're still here, I looked back through my emails. I got a great email from a guy, Paul T. Occasionally he'll come in on live stream. Usually it's only in the mornings. Anyway, he gave me a great video of a guy. It was like an hour-long video, but this guy went through hooking up to the because there's two APIs that we're going to use. It's called the YouTube Data API and the YouTube Chat API. And by using those, you get a couple of things. The only thing he didn't do in this whole hour-long video of how to like it was basically an exercise in making a bot. And so if the person said, "Oh my God, I love you," then the bot said, "I love you too," kind of thing, right? It was an autoresponder. But it in the JSON, basically the data that it pulled out, right, when it makes the API call, it had everything in there, at least what I saw, except the person's name, and that's precisely what I want to do, right? So I think what happens is it gives you a numeric representation of, basically BNP Chris, and then you have to take that, and then you have to use that number to make a call back to the API, and it says, oh, here's the person's name. It doesn't include the name and the description of the, it's got the date timestamp, it's got the comment, it's got the, where it was, and it's got, and the person's YouTube channel, the URL kind of thing. But then it's like ID 77739. Great. Anyway, I have that from Paul. I will forward it to you if you want, Mariano, but I think it would be neater actually if we just waited until you got over here, and then you and I can sit down here right next to the pianist and work on it. But I absolutely have some input from another listener, which is very important to me, which I'm very excited to use. Was seeing that Amazon had a bad outage yesterday with their cloud services and such. You hear of this, Mike, and have any or have I heard of it? Have you any insight at what have happened? I don't know what happened specifically to Amazon. Obviously, I'm a big cloud guy, and definitely in a previous life, I was the chief cloud evangelist of a number of areas, actually, not the least of which was my full-time job, but then also in other areas where I'm just like, no, you got to go to the cloud. People, I'm going to buy more servers, but no, unless you're AWS and Microsoft and Alibaba Cloud, and unless you're in the cloud business, what the hell are you doing buying physical servers, dude? Focus. You can do everything from Chrome, or a browser, if you don't like Chrome. But anyway, I'm actually very interested in that, so I will look her up and find out what the reason was. I will say that in my experience, every other time they've had a major outage, as they say, it's been a human error. Some guy types it, he hits enter, and he's like, oh, crap. He's like blows away a whole ton of S3, right? And so, that's what happens at scale, right? Which is why the humans aren't usually the ones that actually are doing it. I want to hit pause on that. Okay, good. They have, machines that do it. And of course they use their own machine learning to do the correct, modification. You like that? I tried putting the machine on a separate stool. I was doing a stool sample, Chris. But it was too far away, and then you saw the edges of the green screen there. So it's kind of like, all right, well, that's not going to work because I got to get this pianist in. But I will look into it and potentially get back to you guys tomorrow with the broadcast. AWS outage. I'm quite certain. AWS outage today. How's that? Major outage at Amazon Web Services affecting many sites. That's CBS News. I'm pretty sure CBS News and CNBC do not have a deep technical analysis of what happened, which is what would very much interest me. I will check on status.aws.amazon.com, which, if you don't know, I believe I have a shortcut to that, which is WTF. aws.mics.wtf. Is that right? If you go there, does that redirect to yes, it does, absolutely. So if you guys want to find out what the error rates were, whatever it is, just go to aws.mics.wtf. Like, what which is actually what they forgot, as you guys know, if my mom's watching, what they forgot. Definitely interested in that. Definitely interested. Yes, it's a company phone that is locked for work service only. Totally makes sense. It's a device in the truck and connected to the phone with e-logs and our dispatch app. Makes sense. Makes complete sense. Freeze 4030. And I'm at what am I at right now? Excuse me. And what was I doing at 4030? I don't even know. Can't even tell. Freeze 4544. I also saw, and was it when I was like browsing and hold on. Let me see. What do I have my PC set at? Do I have it? Oh, now I have it set at turbo. Before it was probably on performance, but I'll put it on turbo. It's got silent, performance, and turbo. And the good news is I've got a pretty tight pattern on this SM58, as you guys well know. So you probably can't hear the fan right now. Yeah, maybe you can. But I have it on turbo right now. I have a turbo button because, of course, my laptop is a 486 DX50. So I got to have the turbo button so I can slow it down so the code can catch up. The video quality is bad right now. Okay, good to know. Thank you. It is 316, and you posted that at 308. Right after Joe put his money in there. Must have been too much money. And some jitter. How disappointing now. The audio is off. Oh, my God. The stream rate dropped to 4138. Thank you guys so much for letting me know this. I'm going to totally go back basically through the logs and see if I can determine why. I believe the short answer is because the Wi-Fi sucks ass. And, and of course, if I ask StreamYard, they're going to be like, well, how close are you to the router? Are you physically plugged in? Yeah, I get it. They have a, -5C in Indiana. Dude, that is bad news bears. I am just like, I'm not a fan. 31 degrees C in Payun Beach, Banchang District, Rayong. Someone was telling me about is it Koh Payun? In other words, it's Payun Beach on Koh Payun. He was telling me about the island that's over there on that side. And he says, yeah, you basically fly in, and then because he used to live in Phang Nga, which is the province north of Phuket, right? And so he said, we go north of that, and then you would basically take a ferry over. And I'm like, well, that sounds really interesting. And I don't know if I've been there before. I remember, years ago, right? My first trip to Phuket, I did the whole tourist thing. And so, the van picked me up at the hotel, and then they drove us to the pier, and then the pier speedboat over to the island. And then we had like lunch over there. A couple people went snorkeling, walked around a little bit, and then the speedboat left and, dropped you back off at your hotel. Whole day event ended up costing like 1,500 baht. And, on the ride back, I'm like sitting next to, because here's what's crazy is the drive over, or the boat ride over to the island, right? I mean, some people got sick and threw up. And the sad part was those people didn't recognize the fact that as they were closer to the bow of the boat, they got sicker. So I get in and I'm like looking around and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll make sure that the back seats are like available for these people so the poor people don't get sick. And they're all sitting in the same seats. I'm like, dude, you got to trust me. There's a lot less bounce back here. Anyway, the last one. Oh, Joe, thank you for that. March 19th. That was a while ago. And it probably aired on oh, yeah. Honey, when did you get here? March 23rd? No. March 10. Oh, yeah. Well, so, you mean you came out of quarantine or you 16 you got out of quarantine? Really? And I still went and did a 21. Yeah, that's probably why. Because I do recall, well, if you don't remember, Joe, my emotions got the best of me one moment. And you had Jib, you contracted her to make a little yarn and stuffed animal of Gracie, basically, with a bunch of hair. And I got very, very grateful. I had a gratitude attack on Bangkok Strange. I was more than happy to do that. But I remembered that, of course, before she physically was in my arms. And so still here. We'll take a look at it. Yeah, absolutely. I'll just make sure that it's highlighted in the Goog so I can get to it quickly. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm glad you guys are letting me know of that. I can tell you that StreamYard absolutely has infrastructure in AWS. I did get that out of a few levels up of tech support when I was talking to them one day, because I'm like, okay, so if I'm going to go RTMP, like where should I go? And at the end of the day, they pretty much just said, look, for the most part, everything comes out of US East 1, which is Virginia. So they also use Google Cloud too, GCP, which I'm also a big fan of. Yes, but we need a pianist for your stool sample. Mandatory. Thank you for clarifying that. Stefan, warm today, only -1 degree C in Gothenburg. And thank you for coming by. That's the other reason I like doing my streams at this time, because I get the guys from Mariano, for one, but also new friends now from Gothenburg, where it's only -1. I mean, come on, forget about it. -1 Kelvin, probably. And, of course, that's not negative Kelvin. How's that possible? Koh Samet this weekend, 12 of us. Wow, that's really cool. I've never been to Koh Samet. Gracie and I went down to Koh Chang. Definitely want to Koh Samet. Koh Samet's closer, right? And are you now? Koh Samet's the size where you can't take a ferry over where you can take a car, correct? Is Koh Samet small and it's like you get motorbike kind of thing once you get over there? So good night to you, sir, and try and stay warm, my friend. I know you'll figure out a way to do it. -2 in Eastern Germany. Yeah, are you guys like trying to one up each other with how miserably cold it is? Because I can tell you, it's a little warmer than that in Bangkok. Yeah, well, again, that's why I'm here, right? So absolutely, MedTech. Have a good one, my friend. So 3:21 p.m. right now in the big city of Bangkok, in the Big Mango. For those that have just joined, greetings and aloha. What's going on? My name's Mike's, and this is livemyassoff.com, and this is the Mighty Big Broadcast on behalf of BKK.FM, sponsored. I don't have their cup with me here too. It ranneth over, so therefore I don't have it. But I'm here at Union Space, hashtag Thrive Together. So I wanted to make sure. Okay, so here's what's interesting. So right now, I just got a symbol in the StreamYard thing. Like, as if you don't know what StreamYard looks like, then basically there is my logo, which is right there. So I see that. StreamYard, obviously, right there. But then on this side, stuff that you guys don't see, it basically tells me how many people are watching, 7. It gives me the thumbs up on Facebook, 1. Now there's 8 watching. And then it tells me right here I'm live at 56, 19, 20, 56, 21, 56, 22. And thank you for verifying that, Mariano. I appreciate that, because what happened was, apparently, as I get this, the Wi-Fi symbol, right? Like with the 3 kind of curves, like the Wi-Fi antenna kind of thing, this sort of symbolizes the generic icon for Wi-Fi. That went up there, and it's like, it's like had basically like 3 bars, right? And then it was like, I think 1 bar at the bottom, 2 bars in the top, and then finally a 3rd bar. And then once I guess I have decent coverage, then it goes away. I no longer see it now. So I have a feeling that there is, I don't have a feeling, I'm quite damn sure that the connectivity via the internet is not going great. And so that's a little bit disappointing for a co-working space now, isn't it? 22 degrees C after the storm. Oh, right. Sure. Yeah. Winter in the rest of the world, but of course, summer down under. I will change that forever in 6 to 7 weeks. So psyched for you to come over here. How psyched are you guys for Mariano to be sitting right there playing with his pianist live on the air at the mighty BKK.FM as the names scroll by in massive gratitude due to his ridiculously efficient coding? I am just looking forward to it. No cars. Resort is picking us up by speedboat. So, I don't know what your feeling is on speedboats. I mean, in general, I like speedboats. They're fun. But what I tell you, I do not like when I go to an island and basically the only way to get there is a speedboat. We haven't, because I'm just like, no. I prefer the ferry. I like taking the ferry, not because we're taking a car over anymore. I just like the slow. I like being on the water as much as I can, basically. I mean, if it was a 9-hour ferry ride, I'd be like, okay, they have planes now, Mike. And, but I got to tell you, I love the 1.5-hour ferry ride over to Koh Samui. And when I was doing it, I only did it by myself like 2, maybe 3 times. The 2.5-hour ferry ride over to Koh Phangan, and that ferry is a piece of junk. I made some comment in the Koh Samui, one of these Koh Samui expat groups in Facebook, right? We kind of chat like, hey, where do I get the best, whatever. Expats asking questions of other expats that have more experience in an area, kind of thing. And that's kind of weird. Now I get the artifacts of my water bottle in it. That's kind of weird. And one of the things was, hey, how do I get from Koh Samui to Koh Phangan? Do I have to go all the way back to Don Sak, which is basically the mainland, and then take the ferry over to Koh Phangan after I get back from Koh Samui? And he's like, no, you can go right from basically the Lipa Noi, down in Lipa Noi, Samui, the Raja ferry pier, Raja, I believe it's pronounced Raja. And those ferries are easily 10 years older than the Seatran ferries. They're probably 70 years older. But my comment was, whenever I ride those, I love it, because it's just like, it's so old and it's still floating, and I can swim okay. So I'm like, and the water's warm, where it is. But I'm also like, hey, this is I feel like I'm on the African Queen. and one of my more favorite actors definitely is Humphrey Bogart. That guy could smoke. I'll tell you something. If there was any other way that, if you could smoke and like not get cancer, then you believed you could because you watched Humphrey Bogart smoke, because the way that he did it had such finesse, which of course then he died of lung cancer. But nonetheless, the way that he displayed the usage of the cigarette, the ingestion of that smoke, you thought to yourself, "My God, this is like he's inhaling the Lululemon of tobacco. Like, this guy is amazing, the way he just does that." And anyway, so African Queen, one of my more favorite movies. That and Key Largo, and of course Casablanca, the best movie ever made. Not because I have an expectation of special effects. Believe me, that's not the reason. It's just the story for me. And it just makes me feel good when I watch it. What's going on here? 5950 double freeze, which was basically 1 minute ago from right now. All right. Well, with that said, then it seems like, unfortunately, the trajectory is worse quality and not better quality, which means that's pissing me off. And so therefore a solution is forthcoming, which is I'm going to end the broadcast now. It's been over an hour. And on behalf of Gracie, Joe, first of all, thank you so much for the smoothie money. Thank you, all of you guys, for the input. Thank you for letting me learn OBD1 and OBD2 as the CEO of Driver. Actually, if he ever were to watch this, he would roll his eyes. I can kind of hear them creaking in his head and rolling back right now. But with that, it's Mike's from LiveMyAssOff.com saying, I hope you're living the dream, because if you're not living the dream, then probably you think the word pianist means something a hell of a lot different than someone who knows how to tickle the ivories in a fake piano over their right shoulder. Talk to you guys soon. Ciao.